Hi friends, and welcome to our yoga practice. This week's practice centers on this idea of non-judgment. And that's a big one because there are different forms of judgment that we all practice or have practiced in our lives. It is human nature to do so. So we're going to talk a little bit and meditate on how we can let go of judgment. So obviously we're often told that it's not good to judge others, right? And when we do judge others, a lot of that judgment can be a reflection of our own self-judgment, our own inner critic that is telling us that something about ourselves is not good enough, is inadequate, or that we failed at something. And then sometimes that gets projected onto other people, whether we know them or whether they are strangers even. Then the guilt and the shame of that judgment, when we become aware that we're judging others, that can then turn into a negative self-judgment. So we get caught up in this mental loop, right, that's between judging others and then judging our judgments of others and then judging ourselves in the end. And this obviously creates a lot of emotional turmoil and mental instability. We have all these reactions to it, and I think we get further and further away from our authentic selves. So this meditation today is going to just focus on trying to achieve that inner truth that we have within us, to shed these judgments and shed these expectations we have of ourselves as well, and really get to the heart of where we are right now. A lot of this practice is going to be about letting go of self-judgment. And that applies to mentally how we feel about ourselves and how we judge our emotions and our reactions, and then also physically on the mat, how we begin to judge what we think we can and cannot do in our practice. So we'll get to that in our physical poses. Let's begin with a meditation. And for this meditation, find a comfortable seat, or you can be lying down just somewhere where you're going to be completely at rest for the next few minutes. And then begin to either close your eyes, or if you like, you can soften your gaze onto the images that you will see on your screen. And just focus there, find a still point. Let everything soften and relax. Just listen to my voice. We're going to focus on the sensation of breathing. Your mind will undoubtedly stay busy, so we're going to assist it. We're going to help it settle in by noticing those thoughts that are passing through. Notice them as just thoughts, nothing more. And then patiently bring yourself back to your breathing. Ask yourself, how am I breathing today? Take a moment to connect with the movement of your breath. Inhale and exhale. Now taking 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. exhale. Inhale a little longer. And exhale all the way out. One more. Inhale, filling the lungs, and exhale. Now, whatever feelings are here, allow yourself to have them. Just be with them. Allow whatever is present to be present. You might be finding your mind is still busy, and you might be telling yourself that you're not good at meditation, that you're having a hard time. Recognize that that is a judgment, and that is simply a thought, and nothing more. One that we can let go of. Remind yourself that the fact that you are here, you showed up, you're present on your mat, and that is enough. You're exactly where you need to be right now. Take a few moments to feel your feelings, to feel them fully. Allow those feelings and emotions to rise to the surface. As you move into this feeling state, remind yourself you are safe to feel what is within you. For whatever is within you today is there to guide you. Your feelings are always valid. They often hold keys to open doors that will free you from fear and self-limitation. Take another deep breath, inhaling fully and exhale. Now bring to mind something that you don't like very much about yourself, or that you wish you didn't have. Something that might be uncomfortable, but not overwhelming. Notice what arises when you think about that something. Is it a sense of physical discomfort? Is it an emotion? Maybe an anxious thought? Give your attention to all of it. Your reactions, any emotions like disappointment or frustration, anything else you notice that rises to the surface. And if at any point this practice becomes too uncomfortable, remember to take care of yourself and allow yourself a break, and let go of this practice at any time and come back to whatever feels most appropriate in this moment. Sustain your awareness now around that negative thought, that self-judgment. Recognize how things are in this moment. Acknowledge this experience right now as you sit with discomfort, without any need to fix or change anything in this moment. Take a breath in and out. Now begin to let that judgmental thought dissolve with the breath. As you inhale, and as you exhale, imagine it leaving your body, leaving your mind. As you let go, begin to reframe that thought. How can you turn that judgment into something positive? See the beauty of who you are behind it. This requires becoming a full observer of yourself, the beautiful human that you are, you who contributes to the world with your presence. Gently tell yourself, maybe even out loud, let it go. Be kind to yourself. Let it go. Come back to the breath. Begin to show yourself self-compassion. Now, wish yourself the happiness and wellness as if you're wishing it for a good friend. In these last moments, holding that compassion, repeating the following. May I be surrounded by love and kindness. May I be surrounded by love and kindness. May I be surrounded by light and peace. May I be surrounded by light and peace. May all those with whom I come into contact be surrounded by love, kindness, light, and peace. May all those with whom I come into contact be surrounded by love, kindness, light, and peace. Now as you inhale, allow your breath to open and feel it move deeper and deeper within your body. Breathe in light and compassion. Deep into the core of your being. This is where we find rest. And as we close our meditation, take a moment to imagine where you are free to do whatever you please while surrounded by this compassion, this love, this light. In this moment of freedom, where there is no self-judgment, no one telling you what you should do, what is expected of you. Perhaps an intention can emerge from this. How does this freedom feel? Perhaps this starts to bring together intention, both in your inner and outer world. Carry this freedom with you through the rest of your practice, through the rest of your day. We're going to slowly come back to awareness of our external surroundings with a few breaths. Counting slowly down, 3 big breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Start to feel the connection to your body and the room where you are sitting or lying down. Inhale. And exhale. The outside world begins to be more apparent as your attention moves to your surroundings. One more big breath. Inhale. And exhale. You begin to slowly open the eyes if they were closed. Maybe refocus them if they were softly open. So hopefully this meditation just instills with you a little more compassion for yourself today and a little more freedom in how you go about the rest of the day. Let's meet on the mat, and we're going to begin seated. And in our movements today, we're going to do some challenging poses, some balance. And these are going to challenge us mentally as well. We might get frustrated if we can't hold something as long, or we can't do something the way we would like to. So I'm going to encourage you to let go of that expectation, to let go of any comparisons you might have between yourself and images in your mind, or yourself and me on your screen. This is just about you, where you are, accepting but also celebrating where you are in your practice. All right, let's meet in a seated position on the mat. Take 3 big breaths with me here. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and release. And one more, inhale. Beautiful. Next time, inhaling and reaching up, just keep your hands up here, just reaching tall. And then let's begin to reach Reach. Whew, feels good already. One more reach. And let it go into a little twist. So go ahead and twist over to the right side. Look back over your shoulder. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist other side. And lift, release. Let's go ahead and already come to all fours here. We got a few things that I want to be able to get to today, exciting things. And let's go through our cat and cow. Keep warming up. On all fours, joints stacked, so shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. Let's inhale, drop the belly, and lift the chest, and exhale, around the back. Inhale, and exhale, round. Inhale to cow, exhale to cat, and one more, and rounding. Come back to all fours, and we're going to do some little hip circles. So starting with any leg, I'm going to start with my right leg. We're going to just pick up that knee and just begin to circle the knee around. Little circles, not very big. And this is going to be one that's going to creep up on you pretty quickly. You're going to feel tired in this hip. So take a break anytime. Maybe making that circle bigger. Drawing a bigger circle with the knee and opening the hip up. Couple more. Now reverse directions. And start the same way. Start small. Same side. These get pretty challenging. Maybe circling like bigger. See where your hip mobility is at. And if you get frustrated that you're getting tired, question yourself there. Accept that feeling and then ask yourself, can you let it go? All right, take a little break. Sit back into child's pose. Come back to all fours and let's do the other side. So begin, pick a direction, begin with little circles. Gradually making them bigger if you like. The important thing is just to keep trying to move. Move in a way that is good for your hip today. All right, now reverse directions. Little circles. Widening if we can. No expectation there. One more big circle and come back. Cinch your hips back. Relax in child's pose. Take your arms by your sides and either just let them rest, palms open, or if you want to add a stretch, maybe bringing hands behind your back and pulling away, or clasping those hands and maybe pulling upwards, pulling your shoulders back. Release whenever you are ready. Bring them back by your sides. Take a deep breath. Hands back out in front. And let's come up into downward dog for a moment. So tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, and give yourself a little pedal through the feet. Now, if you are up here in downward dog and you already feel like this doesn't work for you, and you're having a hard time today with your downward dog, not to worry. You have the option, if this is bothering your wrists, you have the option to come down to your forearms. If that still isn't working, then just come back to all fours. And from all fours, you can just take a leg back and push through that heel. You can push back and forth, and that will also give you that calf stretch, leg stretch that your downward dog, that walking your downward dog gives. So feel free to be right here. You take the position that works for you, knowing you're not expected to be anywhere else but here. If you're in your downward dog, come to a point where you can hold for a moment and press the heels towards the mat. Maybe ears are aligned with biceps. And then begin to walk or step your feet forward. Come into a forward fold. Little sway side to side. Softening the knees. And slowly roll yourself all the way up to standing. Great. We have reached our mountain now with solid feet. Take a moment and bring your feet hip distance apart. You can gaze down, toes pointing forwards, and feel your weight through your feet. Feel your big toes. Start to feel your middle toes. And I like to sometimes do this little rock, little sway forward and back, because then I begin to feel where the weight is. I feel it in the toes and the balls of my feet and then towards my heel. And I find that good place where all parts of the foot have equal weight distribution. So take a moment to find the center of your weight. And then we're going to go into Warrior One. So we're going to take a step back with, let's take a step back with the right leg. And I'm going to mirror you, so, because we're going to open up after this. So take your right leg back and bend, get that left knee, that front knee. Now your right leg may not be able to may not want to go back that far. And so if it's here, that's perfectly fine. Have a smaller step. The key is that you want your heel pressing into the mat. So if you notice that you are doing this and your heel's lifted, just bring your foot a little closer in so you can put your heel down. If you feel good here with a little baby lunge, see if that heel will go back further. Hips are staying nice and square, facing forward, and then if you'd like, we can lift the arms. Inhale. Warrior one. I'm still adjusting even as I'm in here. I'm listening to my body. I'm feeling that I can walk this front foot out a little more into a slightly deeper lunge because I can sense that my body is ready for it. But if I feel any pain or discomfort, I'm going to bring it back. Beautiful warrior one here. From our warrior one, we're going to open to our warrior two, which means turning open to face each other here and taking that right foot further back, if we can, on the mat. So notice now my right foot is perpendicular to the edge of the mat. It is facing forward, right towards you, whereas my left foot is still pointing to the top of the mat. So they're pointing in opposite directions or creating a 90-degree angle if we were to put them heel to heel. And our arms are lifted. If you sense that your arms get tired, and often this back one does, then try to see if you can encourage it to lift. Otherwise, it is okay to drop it too. We can focus on the front arm reaching. Warrior two can be quite challenging because it is an endurance pose and a strength pose. So often, I know that students get tired holding this one, but this one is encouraging you to grow stronger. And make adjustments again while you are here. If you can deepen your lunge a little, as long as you can still see your big toe past this front knee, then you're good. Taking that gaze over that front arm, softening it, finding a point. If you find yourself coming out of this pose, that's okay, no judgment. Take a break. Come back into it when you're ready. And then let's lean forward, flip the palm, and reach overhead. This is our reverse warrior, or sometimes called extended warrior. Now notice we're still lunging. You might find that front knee gets tired, and you might want to pull it back and take a little break, and then come back to your lunge. You could do that a couple of times. Maybe release and lunge. And see if you can hold. Come back to warrior two. Let's go the other direction now. So we're going to start to come down, maybe resting the forearm on that thigh while we lift the top arm. If the top arm doesn't want to be lifted, we can bring the hand to the hip. If we have some shoulder flexibility, we can bring this arm over the head. This is our side angle. And then come back up to warrior two. Now my front leg is quite tired now, so it's going to benefit from a little break. So take out that lunge, and let's try our triangle. We're going to push our hips back, reach through this front arm, and let the hand come down. Top arm again reaching, or you can let it relax for a moment if it's too much. So this is a little bit like what we just did in our side angle, except for without that bend, without that lunge. But here we try and keep our chest open. So the judgment often happens here when we expect ourselves to be able to reach right down to the mat, but when we do that, our chest begins to fold forward and we begin to collapse into it. So if that's happening, we want to lift up higher and know that it's okay to not be reaching down to the mat. There is nobody and nothing that is calling us to do that. Get those images out of your mind of what you're supposed to look like here. Everyone's going to look different. Come back up. Great. Okay, we're going to begin to come back to our warrior one. Just heel toe your right foot in until we can pivot and turn our hips back to face the top of the mat. We're going to come back to warrior one by bending that front knee back to our lunge. Inhale, lifting the arms. But this time we're getting ready to go into a warrior three, a balance. Acknowledging right now that we're going to be kind with ourselves in our balance. And if we need to, we're going to pull a chair over. See where you're at first. Start to lift your back heel. Feel all of your weight transitioning to your front foot. And when you're ready, lift that back leg. Maybe bring your arms out to the side like airplane arms. Notice that I'm starting with my leg not lifted very high. I'm just seeing how this feels. Take a break anytime and come back down, or if we can go a little further, if that feels good, begin to hinge and bring the leg up towards the hip, flexing the foot. I still have my arms out, and staying here if we can. If it feels too much here, you can even bring your hands down to the floor or to a block and just hold. Or, if you have a chair, I have one handy here, you can be doing this, lifting that back leg, holding onto the chair. Maybe trying then to lift off one arm, then the other. Maybe turning that chair around and placing your hands on the seat. Okay, take a little break. Lower that leg down. Come into your forward fold. Shake out your knees. And here's where the challenge is going to come now, the real challenge. These are all challenges in themselves, though. Begin to slowly, with soft knees, roll yourself back up. Stepping again, right foot back. But this time, going into pyramid, which is same stance as warrior one, but taking out that lunge. And we're going to take a big breath. Hands on the hips for support. Inhale, chest open, and exhale. Begin to lean over that front leg. Now, you might want to hold right here. Light pressure in the thigh if your hands are resting here. You don't want to push too hard. We might be able to bring our hands down. Maybe we can fold our head and let it relax. Again, being gentle with ourselves, not having any expectation to touch our knee with our nose.
worried about how far you can stretch. It's about what you feel in the pose. So what do you feel here? All these stretches are benefiting you, no one else. Now, the challenge is going into the next balance, our half moon. And we're staying on that same side for balancing. So recognizing that we already have a little fatigue probably on this side. We're going to walk our hands forward and lift the back heel. Now if you're using a chair, this is more challenging than our last balance, we may want to bring our hands up onto the chair first. So I'll show that way where we're coming back to where we were. We're coming back to where we were here with our leg lifted up and keeping our left hand down on the chair, or if you're all the way down on the mat, it would be staying on the mat. We're going to lift that right hand off. Notice that my chest and my hips are starting to open up. So if we feel good there, we're going to take it all the way open. We're going to go with that opening. And here we are. We're almost in our full half moon. You can feel free to drop that leg a little lower if it's too much to keep it uplifted. Eventually, we aim to lift our top arm. And this is our modified half moon because I've got the elevated support of the chair. If I'm on the mat, it's the same idea here. We lift one arm, the right hand first. We start to open up. And we lift top arm. It is challenging. It's not easy. So you may fall out of it. And if you do, you just shake it off. You come back in when you're ready. Releasing all the way down, coming out just as mindfully as we came in. It's really tempting to want to flop out of your balances and just let go of control. But I think one of the hardest parts is coming out slowly. So we'll think about that when we get to the other side. Shake out those legs and let's actually take a step back here into our downward dog, or you can go right to child's pose. If you're in downward dog, this is where I encourage you to walk those feet out again, just to shake out the legs a little more. And if you're in your child's pose, come back to your downward dog when you're ready. And we're going to step back to top of the mat, back to our forward fold. Little sway here. Soften the knees. Slowly roll yourself back up to your mountain. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So for the other side, I'm going to switch where I am in terms of, so I can face you. So I'm going to be at the other end of the mat, but you can stay right where you are. And I'm going to work with the other side. So we're going to go into Warrior One first, taking the left foot back. And now again, pressing that back heel down. So seeing if I need to bring the foot closer in to get the heel pressing down, or maybe the heel's going down, but I need to make a bigger lunge so that I can feel I'm ready for that. Just checking with your hips and little twists to square them off so they're facing forward. And once your legs feel good, stable, inhale and lift. Warrior One.
resting through that back heel still. Opening up now to warrior two. All we have to do is turn our bodies, and then just turn your foot so your toes are pointing right towards me. And we don't even need to move this leg, this right leg. It's already in position. It should be already pointing away from you. Adjust the width of your legs, however works for you. If it's too much being wider, bring it in closer. If you can lunge more deeply, then maybe widen it out. Bringing the knee just over the heel. And again, you know that by looking at your big toes, still seeing it. Arms reaching long in opposite directions, trying to keep them up. This is a pose that we will often get tired in, so if you feel yourself losing your momentum here, losing your endurance, that is normal. You are doing absolutely the right thing by working on this pose. The more you work on it, the longer we can stay here, the stronger our joints become, the more we can get a good stretch. All right, from here, reaching forward, flipping that front palm, and reaching back into reverse warrior. If you need to, take that lunge out, and then lunge again. Release, and lunge. Release, and lunge and hold. Reach. Beautiful job. Come back to your warrior two. And now let's go the other way. Resting this forearm on the thigh. Very little weight here. We don't want to be leaning our entire body weight, but we want to still have our core holding us up. So let's just lightly place that forearm down. Hold on to your lunge if you can. Maybe reach that top arm over. This is our extended side angle. It is a tough pose. It is, definitely one that I'm feeling in my quads, and this is a tough lunge to hold. And come back up. Release your lunge. Maybe even give your hips a little shake. And we go into our triangle. Reaching forward, dropping the hand down. I'm going to start higher up on the leg. So that way I know if I'm ready or not to move lower before I go there. So I ask myself, is my chest open? Is my back up against an imaginary wall? Can I keep my shoulders relatively stacked in one line? And as I ask these questions, the answer for me today is yes. And so I can go a little bit lower. If my answer was no, then I would stay just where I am. Beautiful. Triangle. Good lengthening pose. The entire body. And come back up. We're going to come back to that warrior one. So let's bring that left foot in. Just heel toe it in. Turn it around. Back to our warrior one lunge. Lifting the arms, inhale. And now coming into warrior three. So lifting our back heel, feeling the weight in that front foot. Lifting that back foot, and maybe we're here. Maybe we have to step back down. Maybe we need that chair again.
bring that chair in front of you. Maybe we can lift a little more, hinge a little deeper. Maybe we're going for it, and we're in Warrior 3 with airplane arms. We're just going to keep those arms out for balance today. If you feel confident bringing your arms in front of you, go ahead. I'm listening to my body, and I don't feel strong enough today, I'll be honest, to do that. So I'm staying right here, arms out to the side. Now at any point again, if you need to, bringing the hands down or to the chair, the seat of the chair, and keeping that leg lifted, your choice. Maybe taking one arm off, switching to the other one, rising back up. Letting it go. All right, bringing ourselves into a forward fold. I think that's what we did last time. So inhale and exhale. Shaking it out. Slowly rolling back up. Always a little bend in the knees to safely roll up. And left foot back again. This time, no bend in that front knee, or maybe a tiny micro bend. We don't need to lock it out either. Hands on the hips, big breath. Inhale, open, exhale. Begin to hinge to wherever we can to hold this hamstring stretch. Feel free to use a chair in front of you as well. You can place your hands back on that chair. Maybe your hands are coming closer down. Maybe we're dropping the head down to a place that gives you a deep stretch. So as soon as you feel that deep stretch in the back of that front leg, then that's where you need to be. You don't need to be any further than that. You just need to be feeling that stretch. All right, from our pyramid pose back to half moon now. And we want to bring our hands out or bring them up on the seat of the chair like before. We're going to lift that back leg and see where it wants to go. Does it want to go back up? Does it want to be lower this time? Bringing the left hand to the hip and maybe rotating open. This is my weaker side for balance, and so I feel myself wobbling quite a bit here, and that is okay too. Knowing it's okay to fall out of these things. Lifting the top arm if you're ready for that. Half moon. So again, that bottom hand can be on that chair the whole time. And hold a little bit longer. Challenge yourself. I know the legs are tired. You're doing great. And release the arm, release the hand, release the leg. Again, slowly coming out. Shaking out those knees. And stepping back one foot at a time to downward dog or coming right to child's pose. If you're in your downward dog, pedal it out. Little lift of the heels. Now lift both heels off and press them towards the mat. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And then gently bring the knees down if you're not already in child's pose and come to your child's pose. Give yourself a little break. Breathe deeply in and out. Walk your hands over to one side. Give yourself a good side stretch. Over to the other side. And back to the center. Go ahead and come to a seated position. Let's take some good stretches here on the mat. First stretch is going to be our forward fold. So with our legs in front of us, this is a pose that is almost in every yoga practice because it's such a good one that is for your legs, your spine especially. Your entire body gets lengthened and stretched here. But it's also one that we often harbor a lot of self-judgment because as we grow older or as injuries happen, we notice that this is one where we cannot reach as far as we used to. When we're having trouble, we think we have to be able to reach our toes. Well, that's of course a myth, and you, again, are in this pose so you feel the benefits of it, not see how far you can reach. So encourage you here to not worry about how far you can lean forward, but to feel what is it doing to your body while you are in it. So take a big breath with me, inhale. And we're going to do this twice. The first time, I want you to exhale and with a straight spine or with a tall spine, begin to hinge and keep your back foot as flat as you can without rounding. You can let your arms eventually come down and they can just hold anywhere on the legs, but keep leaning forward and pulling your shoulders back. Now keeping a nice flat back as if you're just trying to just hinge yourself like a lever and hold here. Flexing the feet, so soles of the feet pressing away from you. Now at the very end of this, then round your shoulders and let your head drop. So what we did was we created a little more lengthening by keeping everything long before we started just rounding into it. Inhale and roll back out of it. Now the second time we are going to lengthen, but we're going to focus more on the rounding and relaxing part of the fold. So inhale, exhale, begin to fold over, but we can just round into it now. Just let everything go. Maybe think about pulling that belly button in a little bit. Shoulders can come forward, head can drop. Feet can now relax. Toes are relaxed. And stay as long as you like there if it's comfortable, or roll back up. Okay, we're going to come onto our backs from here, bending the knees, grabbing under the thighs and rolling safely down. Taking now, let's take the left leg, take that ankle just above the right knee, And then reach through this space between your legs, grab under your right thigh. And clasp your hands here, interlace those fingers, and then pull that thigh towards you. If you like, you can flex that left foot. You can begin to try and push that left hip open a little. But most of this is coming from just pulling that right thigh towards you. And you get to control how much you feel by how much we can pull in. Great hip opener, hip stretch here. Our supine pigeon or our figure 4 stretch. Now begin to release and bring that foot down. Take that left foot away, but keep the knee bent and elongate that right leg. And now let this left knee just come across the body. We're going to bring our arms out wide. So we encourage our shoulders to stay more or less grounded. Just letting the body twist from the lower half. This is probably one of my favorite stretches, especially at the end of any practice or the end of any workout. Because you feel it through almost every part of your body. I feel it through my chest and shoulders, feel it through the lower back, which is what often gets tight for me. Come back, and let's try out the other side. So bending both knees, let's now bring that right ankle just above the left knee. Reach through, grab under that left thigh, and pull towards you. Especially after all those lunges that we held, all the balance poses where we were having to have strong legs, and stretching out the lower body after that is really important. Even in yoga, even though yoga is about stretching, we want these restorative stretches at the end. Beautiful. Bring that leg down and hug for a moment that right knee. Elongate the left leg and then bring that right knee over across the body. Does not have to, toes don't have to touch down, or knee doesn't have to come down to the mat. Just bring it across and bring your arms out wide. You can turn to look in the opposite direction. That's going to help encourage your shoulders to stay grounded. Maybe you can twist a little deeper. Maybe you can grab onto this leg or this knee and just for comfort, just hold it, or maybe even pull it up. For a deeper stretch, just pull it up slightly towards you. And come back to the center. Knees into the chest. Big hug. Rock side to side. And we begin to find our Shavasana. Whatever that looks like for you today. Perhaps lying down is not comfortable. Maybe you want to come back to seated in a chair. Perhaps you want to open up your hips into butterfly, which can be a comforting, nurturing position for your hips. Or maybe you just want to lie all the way out. Let everything become heavy on the mat. Here we will close our eyes and return our full awareness to the breath. Inhaling and exhaling.
Noticing here if there's any part of your body that's holding on. Is there still a little bit of tension that's lingering? See if we can breathe into that space and let go. Make any adjustments you need to fully position yourself in this relaxation.
If we find our mind is active, then spend time here to observe yourself. Imagine your truth, your light-filled essence, as it speaks to you in a clear voice. What does it say to you right now? What words of compassion flow from your true, love-filled self? Weaver God, we come to you for more the truth you find us, disconnected and out of sorts. We are disheartened by our failures, discouraged by our weakness, and little that we do seems worthy of your grace. Restore our fortunes, restore our future. Weave for us the tapestry on which our lives are stretched. Give us patience with the endless back and forth of shuttle, hand, and effort. We look too closely, seeing only strands and knots and snarled threads of too much trying or none at all. Grant us eyes to see the whole of which we are a part. In the end, we ask for gentleness with ourselves, acceptance of our less than perfect ways. We pray that what we do and what you weave form patterns clear to all, of mercy in the warp of it and love throughout. Slowly begin to return movement to the body. Begin to reconnect body and mind to the movement of the breath. Give yourself time to slowly come out of Shavasana, to slowly find a seated position on the mat. There's no rush. Thank you friends, for joining me today, and I hope that you may carry that self-compassion and self-love with you, replacing the judgment that we often hold. Let's finish with our 3 big gratitude breaths together. Inhale. Release. Naming internally or aloud one gratitude we have today. Inhale. And exhale. Now naming silently or aloud a gratitude we have of ourselves today. And last, biggest breath, inhale. And finally, naming the gratitude we have for this space, this time that we have shared together. Peace be with you.